Hey there, everyone. February 10th. It's the second day of the Conscious Life Expo here in LA, but it's early in the morning and none of the festivities are starting yet. So I'm going to run over basically all the news stories that I've been able to catch up with over the past couple of days and share them with you all. So we're going to talk a lot about all of these competing memos and new dossiers going back and forth. We have a few articles to go through relating to that. We're going to talk about a rash of new Q posts that have come out pretty much since last night and give you a couple leads in deducing those. And then last few articles, I have to clear things up at the end. So first, we're going to start here with Sean Hannity saying this is just a sliver of the deep state corruption that is coming out when discussing the GOP memo and all of that. And I just wanted to show you this because it's goes in line with much of what I've been saying, that all of these memos and everything, you got to understand, just a sliver, literally 0.0001% of all the deep state corruption there is out there. So expect a whole lot more. And once we talk about the Q post here in a minute, I think we can expect it to come very swiftly. Now we're going to move over to Zero Hedge here in discussing the Democrat rebuttal to the GOP authored FISA memo. So Donald Trump blocked this Democrat counter memo over, quote, national security concerns. And he basically, Adam Schiff, of course, was trying to cover his ass, doctor up this whole new memo. Oh yeah, it's going to be 10 pages. It's going to be 12 pages. It's going to be way longer than that Republican memo that came out. But Trump basically sent it back because he wanted it to be redacted. He didn't want it to reveal the sources and methods. And basically, because we can already know that it was bullshit. So that's not coming out, and at least yet, of course. And then let's talk about the other secret dossier that's been reported on the past couple of days. So The Guardian reported that the FBI is looking into a second Trump dossier that supposedly was going to show more evidence and corroborate the first dossier that came out from, of course, Christopher Steele, and give us all this new evidence, all these new leads into the whole Russia shtick, the Russian narrative. But the Weekly Standard here in their subheader clearly outlines it. Says a State Department official reportedly passed on a second Trump dossier written by one of Hillary Clinton's sketchiest supporters. So this is just becoming so obvious that every single move that this deep state is trying to play, whether they're trying to write their own counter memo, whether they're trying to leak out this second dossier, wow, what timing they're doing that at, right? It's all just falling apart at the seams. And that's the beauty of all of us, of me, of you, of everybody doing the work to investigate this stuff and to share the information, is that the beauty of YouTube and the internet and social media and all the anons on 4chan and 8chan, everybody's working together to combat this propaganda bullshit. And it's awesome. It's great that we're all working together to do that. Again, on Zero Hedge here, we'll now talk about how a top Democratic senator was actually texting Russian oligarchs for access to Christopher Steele. You want to talk about the real Russia collusion. It doesn't have anything to do with Donald Trump. It has everything to do with everybody in Washington, D.C. that's scared shitless. They're all trying to cover their ass, and they're all shouting at the rooftops trying to blame Trump and blame this administration for the Russia collusion. But we know the real Russia collusion is from Hillary Clinton, John Podesta, and many other, I don't want to say Democratic senators, because of course, we have George Bush recently coming out of his Texas hidey hole to say, oh yeah, the Russians meddled in our election. John McCain and George Bush, they might be Republicans. They are still as deep state can be. But in this instance, back on topic, Senator Mark Warner, Democrat out of Virginia, the top Democrat on the Senate Intelligence Committee and a lead investigator in the Trump-Russia probe, had extensive contact last year with a lobbyist for a Russian oligarch who promised Warner access to Christopher Steele. So again, this information being leaked out completely, and it's being leaked out, I want to say here, bit by bit, so people can customize to it. People can, it doesn't overwhelm them, and it's very difficult to connect all these dots. It's just enough where people can discern, distill it, understand it, and then we get the next wave of information that comes out. It's beautiful to see. It's almost every single day there's something that's painting some politician or some organization or something. It's just clearly showing the corruption. And in this instance, it's the top Democrat on the Senate Intel Committee, Mark Warner, going down. I think even Trump tweeted this just the other day, shedding a whole bunch of light right on that. Right here, we've got former official confirms the Steele dossier was shared with the Obama State Department. So former official says right here, Zero Hedge. I use a lot of their articles because Zero Hedge is typically a financial information outlet, but they do a lot of good political reporting as well. Mr. Tyler Durden here, his pseudonym. But a former official in a President Obama State Department has confirmed a claim by the Senate Judiciary Committee that former British spy Chris Steele and Hillary Clinton confidant Sidney Blumenthal gave him intelligence reports claiming Trump had been compromised by the Russians. So the State Department is being outed, right? And let's jump over here to Nunes. Of course, Nunes being the main bomb thrower in regards to this GOP memo. Really having the balls to do it, the balls and the courage. So props to Nunes. But he's now saying that we have an active investigation in the State Department. Not a coincidence that the State Department is being put on blast right here. And also not a coincidence that, boom, Department of Justice's number 3 official quitting after just 9 months. What was her name here? Rachel Brand. She's now quitting to become an executive at Walmart. Funny enough, where Hillary Clinton was once on the board of directors. So a lot of people are jumping ship. They're trying to, get their way out of the political system and try to run from the ship that's sinking and squeeze their way into being on the board of directors or getting a cushy job somewhere where they have an in. But number 3 official at the DOJ plans to leave, citing 2 people briefed on her decision. And she was actually, you can see here, appointed as the Associate Attorney General on May 22nd, making her next in line of succession after Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein. So, of course, there's been a lot of talk about Rod Rosenstein, being on the way out. Of course, after all this FISA stuff, implicating him in corruption. And I'd imagine they're trying to prevent another corrupt person getting into his position. Not only that, kind of jumping around with these, but speaking of attorney generals, let's jump over here to this article by True Pundit, another great news outlet I like, along with Zero Hedge. But they're saying, let's get rid of him. And they're quoting Jason Chaffetz, so former congressman Jason Chaffetz on Fox News, saying that Sessions is a worthless attorney general and saying that he has done basically nothing in the way of arresting people, in the way of doing what needs to be done in draining the swamp. And Chaffetz here is saying that, he's worthless. Fire him. But remember Q? We'll talk a little bit more about Q in a sec, but on January 14th here, he's saying trust Sessions. That was about a month ago. Trust Sessions. So let's now go into some 4D speculation mode. If we're to trust Sessions, and apparently on the superficial level, he's a worthless attorney general, right? Well, let's think deeper. What if this is just a ploy? What if he's just a placeholder in that position right now, doing what he's supposed to be doing? Maybe he's supposed to be looking worthless so he can squeeze on out and we can get someone else in that position at this specific time. Trey Gowdy, somebody else without the hyper polarized eyes on him like there is with Sessions. Sessions creating quite a stir with his words on marijuana and everything like that. So we get somebody else in there that has more acceptance on a partisan scale. People everywhere are like, oh, okay, I'm okay with this guy, and bam. Or who knows? But anyway, let's get back to the articles that I want to continue sharing. Wash this one again by Zero Hedge. Then we'll go into the Q post next. Wall Street Journal asks, why is the media ignoring the real bombshell FISA memo? And they're discussing the Grassley memo, which I haven't read too much into again because I've been real busy with what I've been doing. So I'm kind of just skimming the surface level of all these articles and topics. But essentially there was another memo, the Grassley-Graham memo. They're saying is barely registered on the national radar, but it actually obliterates all of those deep state corporate media propaganda talking points much more so than the recent FISA memo, 4-page FISA memo that came out. So I'll link this article down below again, along with many of the other ones that I'm showing you guys here. And you can check more into this. But apparently, this memo, the slightly redacted one that came out by way of Grassley, is huge. So that's good news. And then now let's talk about some of the Q posts. So let's go up on here to the most recent ones over the past couple nights. Let's see, February 7th, February 8th, this is where I want to begin. It's where we left off. So February 9th, they all started late last night. It says, ha, 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 next week. More laughing. We warned you, you're stupid. Can you sleep? We can help. So apparently saying next week, next week, next week, some more big stuff is dropping. Of course, we're expecting more memos, a memo against what? The State Department, a second memo against the FBI and the DOJ. There's an active investigation we just talked about into the State Department. Of course, there were the investigations into not only Hillary Clinton, but the Hillary Clinton Foundation as well. So there's all kinds of investigations going on this under the scenes. More memos we're expecting. There's the IG report that I'm sure more memos will be coming out detailing. So lots of stuff that we're just getting the popcorn ready for. And then Q says suicide weekend. So this weekend, I'm sure a lot of people are just looking for the outs, right? And he is posing the question, could we see some kind of people taking the out upon themselves? I mean, got to understand, these people's lives, literally their lives, are gone after a lot of this comes out. And they probably will be hung and tried for the death penalty anyway. So might be the only option that some see available. Q then posts top 10 player here now with the IP address. Some great researchers were looking into the IP address, and when I searched it, put it into Google here. I like how in each one of my videos it just has UFO in the search bar there. But when I searched this IP address, I came up with Soft Layer Technologies out of Virginia. Interesting area for it to be from. And then if you look into Soft Layer Technologies, as some people have, it then connects you with the Clintons, with someone or somebody associated with the Clintons, Soft Layer Technologies being one company associated with them. So top 10 player, who is that? Hillary Clinton? Bill Clinton? Is it a Podesta? Interesting. And then Q then posts these images of a plane on a tarmac from somewhere with a couple stringers looking to be some communications that we're needing to get across to somebody. A few people have done some more research on this photo and where the plane might be. Could be in Asia somewhere. A lot of stuff that Q has been referencing has been looking to be from Asia. Don't know too much about this, of course, because I haven't been on the chans and looking at all the research too much, but I'm excited to be home next week so I can get my studio set up at home and get on these reports daily and also get back to doing them live. Q then posts this prayer right here that's devoted to JFK. saying that it's been read every day in the Oval Office, the OO, JFK secret societies, though. I noticed this. Q misspelled societies, so cities right here. So keep an eye on this. I would think keep an eye on Trump's Twitter. I wonder if he's going to put the word societies into Twitter over the next day or two and purposefully misspell it to, give us that corroboration. But honest mistake, could have always been. Although at this level of the game, the amount of honest mistakes that occur, very small. So I don't think that would be an honest mistake. Then Q posts E5 dash, not sure. E could be related to this plane picture. Wonder if that's a terminal or a concourse. E in the airport that this guy was coming from. Hidden messages being put out there for somebody. What's going on in Asia? Wonder if that has to do with, boom, Asia there. Q saying JFK con room. A link to a CIA page here. Then Q says, would you believe this site is actually used to communicate to rogue operators at Snowden? John Cold, question mark. Is that a message to Snowden? Being that Snowden is possibly in Russia right now. Is it cold up there? Is Q implying that Snowden is a rogue operator? A lot of people haven't been enjoying that thought lately, that Snowden could actually be a rogue operator or some kind of bad actor. But hey guys, there's a lot of surprises at this stage of the game. Some of the people that you thought are patriots and for humanity could very well be the otherwise. I'll be honest. I thought Donald Trump was a bigoted racist for most of 2016. Mainstream media got to me as well. But then once the election happened, I started scratching my head, connecting the dots. And as you can see now, my perspective has shifted greatly. So you got to understand, you got to keep your belief systems permeable, right? Never attach yourself onto a certain belief. It can always change. And it has to change. No growth without change. Anyway. Clown Black Ops sites, Asia, goodbye. Goodbye. You will cease to exist. Truth to power. How's the bunker these days? Not too sure what the rest of these mean. Seals are wonderful creatures. Heard they work fast at capturing their prey. I would imagine that he's referencing Navy SEALs, metaphorically here. Navy SEALs work hard and fast at capturing their prey. So there's probably some operations going on at this very moment. Especially last night, Corona offline. Q here saying that mess with the best, die like the rest. 2 highly classified clown ops exposed, 44 remaining. Wizards and Warlocks save the best for last. Interesting. Then he says 3 right here. So this could very well be a 3rd clown ops. And then looking at this link to Global Leaks, what Global Leaks is, it's an open source free software intended to enable secure, anonymous whistleblowing initiatives. Well, if we're going on the suggestion by Q, is this a clown op? What better way to put the hush on whistleblowers than by acting like you have an open source whistleblower communication software? Well, shoot, if all the whistleblowers are then uploading their shit to it, boom, you got an eye right on them. So that would be a clown op right there. Looks like it. I would imagine so. This article Q posts last night. Let's bring it up. Wired from 2010, July of 2010. Exclusive. Google, CIA invest in the future of web monitoring. And there's former Google CEO Eric Schmidt. Of course, he's recently stepped down. Wonder why. But then this article just discusses their efforts to monitor the web, And then this very last Q post, public, FBI, DOJ, Obama, White House, State Department, private, clowns, expand your thinking. So my take on this is that on the public level, we're seeing come out of multiple alternative media sites and Fox News on the mainstream level. It's outing the FBI, DOJ, Obama, White House, and State Department. But on the private level, all this intel we're seeing from Q, for instance, is showing that it's the CIA is going down behind the scenes. A lot of these black ops are being exposed, tied up, taken out. So that's how I'm interpreting that very last Q post. So that's that for Q, guys. Now let's go on to the last couple articles I want to share with you. This one out of Newsweek saying, now Mattis admits there was no evidence Assad used poison gas on his people. So I want to make a note here, I do use some mainstream media websites occasionally for certain stories because, yes, of course, the mainstream media always puts their propaganda, puts their narratives out, but that doesn't mean the information they provide is inherently wrong. Could be correct information, but then they try and spin it. So sometimes I use CNN or Newsweek or whatnot just for the headline, just for the basic information, the true stuff. But then, of course, I don't go too deep into it. Or I'll point out their narratives and unspin it, you see? So right here, you can see their narrative, lost in the hyper-politicized hullabaloo surrounding the Nunes memo and the Steele dossier. And here's the true part, was the striking statement by Secretary of Defense James Mattis that the U.S. has no evidence that the Syrian government used the banned nerve agent sarin against its own people. So yes, Mattis admitting that, hey, Syria didn't gas their own people. And if you remember earlier in 2017, there was a whole shitstorm about that happening. And back in 2013, the Obama administration used that as a false flag to, of course, get their hands dirty in Syria. But now Mattis admitting, no evidence. Good stuff. I like that. Back to Zero Hedge. Speaking of Newsweek, it's one reason I like to use mainstream articles, because then in the next one, just put them on blast. Newsweek in crisis. Editors go nuclear on exec over criminal probe during the leaked meeting. So Newsweek, every week, something's coming out about Newsweek, just tearing them down. They got their servers raided. They got multiple of their executives has stepped down. And now a leaked audio of a private meeting between an exec and a magazine editor revealed that the beleaguered news organization is tearing apart at the seams following allegations of financial crimes, tax evasion, money laundering, all kinds of stuff. So that's great news. Newsweek has just been one of the main pillars that's propped up to spew all the deep state propaganda, of course. There's many others, CNN, NBC, Washington Post, that we want to see taken down. But one by one, bit by bit, it is happening. We are seeing it. We already went over this article. And the last one I want to share with you guys is this, which I just saw. Front page of Fox this morning discussing the Pentagon audit, the signs of a bloated, unaccountable government. So I'm so happy to see this on the front page of Fox News. And like I said in my video yesterday or the day before, one of my next reports coming up, likely when I get back home, back to the whiteboard, it'll be fun to do a whiteboard one on, will be on the Pentagon audit, all the money missing, and how this audit is slowly leaking the secrets, slowly leaking what this audit is finding out, customizing people to that. So a new audit they're saying about a Pentagon agency losing hundreds of millions of dollars is reported by Politico as an exclusive. While that's technically correct, a government agency losing or wasting or misplacing millions, billions, and even trillions is nothing new. Holy shit. Honestly, that's the first time I read that part of it. Mentioning trillions of dollars, this is not hyperbole, folks. That's big. If they're actually admitting trillions of dollars on Fox News, whoo! Again, it's getting big, guys. It's getting faster and faster. Doesn't look like anything's happening, but if you connect all these dots to all these tiny pieces of information coming out, right, and then you put all those pieces of information together, just like Q says, we have all the answers. It's all already there. You just got to connect them. That's what I'm assisting y'all in doing. So anyway, thank you guys. That's it for this one. I've got some work to do today. Check back in a little bit later today. I will likely be going live from, make myself a little bigger there, live from the Conscious Life Expo. I'll just walk around and show all y'all what it's about. Some of the cool stuff that's going on. I was checking it out last night. There were some good nutritional companies. I got a sweet Taurus necklace. Pretty awesome. I've been wanting a necklace, and I finally found one that I think is pretty neat. Taurus there, and I'll show you what else is down there until I get kicked out or get asked to turn my turn my phone off, turn the video off. So anyway, take care, guys. I'll be checking in soon. Peace out.